Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Um, Today, I just want to share some concepts just like APIs. So, what is the importance of the APIs and how does this APIs works? Okay, so we know that we are using the APIs just like a create order API and also capture, sorry, create order API we have, and then what we have, we just have also capture API. So we are using those APIs in our project, right? So let's understand. So what is a PayPal is basically a PayPal REST APIs are powerful tools for handling payments in a secure and reliable way. Okay, so these APIs, what does these APIs means is we already know and we discussed it with several times. Is like the APIs are nothing but used to communicate between two softwares. It's are nothing but communicate between two softwares. So today what I'm actually discussing is it is nothing but how those softwares will communicate with each other. So I said through APIs, but how the process will look like and how the process will be work. Okay, so these APIs are basically designed to easy to use, making it a straightforward for developers to interact with the PayPal robust and its payment processing capabilities into websites and so on, also on applications. So in order to communicate to the PayPal, so it giving me some of the documentation for the developers as well, so that's how by reading and by understanding those document we can get aware and we will be able to connect to the PayPal API and we can communicate to that. So what we have PayPal developers documentation. So first let's understand the importance of the documentation for developers. Okay, so for anyone, okay, in order to understand what the task that we need to do, in order to understand what is those a project is all about and how these communications are happened. So that's how. Okay, so without reading these document, don't go to the project development directly. Okay, okay, because it provides some of the guidelines and it gives you a structure. Okay, it provides a comprehensive guidance on integration PayPal payment services into websites or applications as well. So it ensuring that a seamless payment experiences for users. And what it also gives is it also gives us API references, and it also provides some of the security protocols of the documentation, like this documentation includes essential information on security standards also, and it helps developers to implement secure payment systems and prevent fraud, just like that. So we also called these are as so these APIs, and another terminology we can hear this is SDK. Okay, it's nothing but a software development kit, I think. So it's SDK. It provides the it provides the way of communication to the developers and the client as well. Okay, thank you. And also, and we have, as I said, we have several APIs, right? So the order API, and it's so this order API is central to the PayPal suite. So it is designed to manage the entire life cycle of order, okay, from creating to capturing payments and everything in between. Especially the create order API call. So create order API. Okay, this create order API, um, it can initiates the payment processes by establishing the order structure and defining the transaction details as well, and and reserving funds before the final payment approvals also. Okay, and also using these API, developers can create a flexible, secure, and user-friendly checkout flows. So that meets business needs while enhancing the customer experience as well. Okay, now today I am teaching the create order API and examining its purpose and how the parameters you are going to put in the request body and how the response get handled, and how those best practices in order to develop any project. Okay, now let's understand what is the purpose of this create order API. Okay, first, I am telling that in order to develop any project, go through this documentation thoroughly. That's how you will understand what is the purpose of this project and how you will develop. Okay, so that's how you'll develop. Otherwise, if you go blindly and you try to develop something, so it's not a best way and it's not a best practice to go through this. Okay, so in any e-commerce transactions, the payment process can be vary based on the business model. Okay, so some business may require immediate payment, like okay, it's whenever we click a button we need to do that payment as well, and it's require some capture at the point of the sale, while others may place on authorization hold on funds to capture payments at the later time also. Okay, such as upon shipping. So let's say we have an example that let's say we take a car for the rent. Okay, let's say we take a car for rent. Okay, let's me, can I increase this font? Okay, yeah, thank you. Let's increase another. Okay, so sometimes if you take a car for rent, we don't immediately pay the payment. So the holder will hold the amount for some time, for a while. Okay, so that may be a 3 days, that may be a 1 month or something, etc. That is based on the rental time you are taking, right? Okay, so sometimes it happens. Okay, so how, so okay, it's okay. uh, now we know that there are several aspects, several different types of the payments, right? So here we can pay now or we can pay later. Okay, so how we can get to know what form we need to use in our project? Okay, so these all are we understand these all are by just reading the documentation. Okay, so now let's understand what is the so purpose, right? So this create order API allows for both models just by specifying the payment intent or capture or authorize. Okay, um, and again I show you the documentation as well, that that's how you all understand it better. So we have two parameters, just like the capture and authorize to do that. So the developers can define whether to capture fund immediately or place them on a hold. Okay, this feature provides a flexible approach for managing those transactions, and as you can adapt it to suit any business model or customer need. Okay, and so the create order API also supports multiple item purchases through purchase units, and each unit in the purchase it's essentially in a sub transaction, and it's representing what it's called, it's an item or something for sale. Okay, for instance, if customers is purchasing items from different vendors on a platform, so each vendor transactions can be representing as a unique purchase unit. Okay, it's nothing but unique order details. Okay, that's something. And so let's understand the key components of the create order API. Okay, so where we can find this, let's say I can show you. Hmm. Okay, so it's a developer PayPal documentation. The PayPal is providing, it's basically for the developers who want to communicate with these PayPal as well. So, and in order to develop those projects, okay. So here we have the, so it's nothing but a create order. It's an API, okay. It is used to create an order, and it will generate also unique order ID also. So here it's a post method. We already discussed that post, it is nothing but used to create an API, okay. It's basically used to uh, creating or storing some details to the database as well. So like that. And get, and let's say, look into this. So here we have get, right. So get, it is nothing but if some data is present in the database, okay. These are nothing but these are called as the HTTP methods, okay. These are used to communicate with the communicate in the internet, okay. So post, it is nothing but um, create or storing some data on the database, okay. Get, it is nothing but retrieving the data from the database or something. Source may be anything, okay. So retrieving the data like that, okay. These HT post head and post get are the HTTP methods, and it's in nothing but it is an URL, okay. Here the V2 represents the versions or something, and this checkout, it's a package and order it. There is no specific structure we need to follow. We just have a freedom to take any name as well based on our requirement here. But this version is something we need to follow. But this checkout orders, it's for the our purpose, for our understanding. So it's a best standard to use the what suits for this exact method. If some it suit for the exact method what it is exactly doing, okay. So here it is creating order, right. So that's why we are using here it's create. So create order, okay. That's how we understand this, okay. Now let's understand what are those parameters or fields that we are containing in create order API, okay. Let's say here the security pattern is following, it is nothing but the auth to security pattern and the request. So let's see, here it's a request format, okay. What it means, in order to get some details or in order to communicate with the PayPal or something else, okay, we need to send a request in order to get a response, okay. So anything, let's barely remember this, it's very important. So the basically APIs, okay. In APIs, any communication, so any communication just with the or in the form of request and response form only, sorry, request and response format only. Barely remember this, it's very important, okay. In order to get some response you need to give a request, okay. So in this request we have the headings like it's a header parameters. Let's say here, see the example. So it's a h, the h reference rewards, these URLs are nothing but these are headers, okay. And let's say headings, another heading, it's let's say here it's a request body. So in the post map tool, just in the form of request, in the form of body field, and in the JSON format. So we basically specify these. Okay, so the application JSON means that the request is giving in the form of JSON format only. So and understand another thing is basically this communication is happened in the form of JSON. Okay, JSON, we specify this just by mentioning the application JSON. Okay, whenever you see that application JSON means these request or response, response is also we get in the form of JSON only. So that means this application or this method or this API that is giving the request in the form of API in the form of JSON, sorry. And let's see in what form the response is coming. Let's check. Okay, let's see. 200 successful response to an idempotent request returns the HTTP 200 OK status of the code with a JSON response body that shows order details. So let's see, when you observe this, it's a JSON response body. That means the response we are getting after sending the request is in the form of JSON only. Okay, so let's understand this. Okay, and what we have here, we have these header parameters. Just differentiate. Okay, let's just differentiate these. One is header parameters, and another key thing what we have. Okay, we have the request body schema. And finally what we have, so then we have the response. Okay, let's look and observe what are the fields that we have in this field. Okay, PayPal request ID. Okay, sorry. So we have a PayPal request body and PayPal partner attribution ID and PayPal client metadata ID. It's a prefer and authorization content. Okay, so these are in the heading. Okay, what is that means? So when we are sending a data in the form in the request in the form of data, so we need to follow these rules, we need to share all these parameters. So somehow these are there are maybe required fields as well, that means the mandatory fields, and some of the optional fields. So in this here they are not mentioned that these are mandatory, right? So that's how, if this if they mention required, then you need to give them mandatorily, otherwise you can skip them. But the response body will maybe different based on the fields that you are giving. Okay, parameters, just check once and you'll get that clarity as well. Okay, so what is these PayPal request ID means? Okay, so these PayPal request ID header parameters that ensures that idempotency in API request. Also meaning it's nothing but repeating request with the same ID with the same time frame are processed only once. Okay, this is crucial in scenarios just where network or clients issues could lead to a duplicate request. Okay, by using these unique key identifiers, so developers prevent accidental double billing or other errors. Okay, these parameters are particularly useful and when processing high volume transactions, and as it provides a safeguard against redundancy, and businesses can extend the time window and to 24/7. Basically it's 6 hours basically, so we can extend this window to 72 hours by coordinating coordinating with the PayPal account manager. So and adding that flexibility to the this feature as well. Okay, so this is not a mandatory field. And another thing is PayPal partner attribution. So it's a string. It is taking 1 to 36 characters. And another thing, so these what is these attribution ID. So these header allows a PayPal partner to track the API usage linked that's to the specific client integrations and providing a clear overview of how services are utilized. Okay, and what is this client metadata. So it is also taking 1 to 36 characters, and it is in the form of string. You need to give in the form of string. Okay, what is this metadata ID means? These PayPal client metadata ID. This header basically tracks the specific client side information and that is associated with the transaction. Okay, this is useful for the analytics and troubleshooting as well and editing purposes. Okay, and it is nothing but it provides a context about the client environment and request origin and allowing people that developers to pinpoint users in the event of transaction problems. Okay, this metadata ID offers a comprehensive view of the transactions history as well and user context and what the which can assist, okay, which can push away in resolving issues that clients may face in different scenarios. And when the customer reports an issue, okay, this ID serves as a reference point to investigate details from both the server and as well as the client side. Okay, so enhancing the troubleshooting, it's nothing but debugging of the purposes efficiently. Okay, and this prefer, so let's study once. Okay, so default this preferred server response upon a successful completion of the request values return minimal. The server returns a minimal response to optimize communication between the API call and the server. Here you see the ID, heading ID, it's a request. Okay. Let's see who here you are seeing the PayPal request ID, right? So this request ID needs to be unique for the every transaction. So that's how the duplicates are not allowed. Okay, so we are seeing this prefer. Let's say where prefer. Okay, let's understand what is the prefer here. Okay, these it is also in the form of heading field. Okay, let's see, it is also here only. And this prefer, it is nothing but it is a parameter and it's optional. Okay, I said it is not a mandatory and controls the format of the response returned by the PayPal server. Okay, by using this return a minimal, here the server returns only essential details. Okay, so like the ID and status and hat yours links. Okay, okay, so this optimizes the performance by reducing the response size. Okay, whenever we are working with the large products and large number of data, the third party or any third party will send you the a bulky of data. Okay, so every time you don't need that bulky of data. Okay, this may be time manageable and it's data it consumes more. Okay, so every time you don't need that much. Okay, so that's how you can minimize that. Okay, so you can just use ID status and like that and optimizing performance by reducing the response times, and this ideal for performance focused applications that prioritize efficiency. Okay, so alternately it has return represent. Okay, so this return representation, it returns a full response with a complete resource representation. Okay, offering an depth a view of the transaction's current status. Okay, this level of detail is useful or used when a full response resource representation is needed, should ensure that all transaction elements meet a specific criteria, enhancing the response flexibility for the developers. Okay, um, And the next parameter we just have the authorization. So it is required field and mandatory field. In order to send a request, you must and should it needs to give that authorization. Okay, let's see, where is authorization here, references. Okay, let's study to make REST API calls include the bearer token in the header with the bearer authentication scheme. The value is bearer access token or basic client ID secret. Okay, so this authorization header it's a mandatorily for accessing the PayPal REST APIs and enforcing this a secure communication through the auth bearer tokens scheme, or this header provides an access token. It's obtaining from the auth 2 or something, or uses a basic authentication like a client ID. It may be it's unique for the client as well when testing in a sandbox or environments. Okay, with each API call, the access token ensures by authorized entities interact with the system. This enhances the security and data integrity. Okay, so by safeguard access, the PayPal prevents unauthorized operations as well. Okay, and this content type, it is also required field, and this media type required for operations with a request body. The value is application or format, where format is nothing but a JSON. We already said that the request is in the form of the JSON format. Okay, so these content type also defines the media type of the request, typically set to application JSON. It's in a JSON format for JSON based request in REST API calls. Okay, it specifies, sorry, so it specifies the its content type is essential for the API calls that includes a request body, and that also allowing PayPal servers to correctly interrupt the data structure. Okay, for JSON request setting, the context type to application ensures that the payload, okay, is processed as an JSON object only. Okay, and let's see now the request body fields like purchase units and intent, payer, payment resource, this application context. Okay, so let's see what these the purchase units. Okay, this array of objects, we need to send the array of objects here. An array of purchase units, each purchase unit establishes a contract between a payer and a payee. So each purchase unit represents either full or a partial order that the payer intends to purchase from the payee. Okay, the purchase units, it's an array. It defines an individual transaction units and each representing an ID or item or service. Okay, each purchase unit is structured to include the details as amount or something. We have the currency code and the description as well and the reference ID. Okay, and so let's see, can we get, okay, it's here we have those here we have these reference IDs, the amount, and we have the currency code and the value as well too. Okay, let's understand the intent field. So this intent field is just a little bit required and mandatory field here. So it is in the form of string only. So here the intent to either capture payment immediately or to authorize the payment for an order of a creation. Okay, these intent parameter basically defines the payment intention. It's specifying how funds are handled or within the order with capture. A payment is taken immediately after the customer approval. Okay, it's ideal for the straightforward e-commerce sales. So this is basically based on the e-commerce client. So here, if you want to use the authorized field, you can use, or otherwise you can use the capture field as well. So these alternately, these authorized holds funds until the capture is explicitly requested, allowing the merchant to confirm the payment later. Okay, then in the request body we have the payer. So it's a deprecated means it's a deprecated. The customer is also known as the payer. The payer object was intended the only to be used in the payment sources. So deprecated means these deprecated methods or fields we are not using now. So the better versions are available to use. So better to stop using these replicated fields. Okay, so these payment score, it's an object, it's a payment source, a definition. Okay, these payment source, its object is specifies the method used for the transaction, such as a PayPal for payment methods. And with the payment source, developers can define various options under the payment method, including pair experiences customization through the experience construct. So these experience enables adjustment to user flow also, such as the return URLs something. And the last one, we just need to provide in the form of request. It is nothing but the application context. It is also we need to send in the form of object only. So this customize the payer experience during the approval process for the payment with PayPal. Okay, these object is customizes the checkout experience, enabling businesses to control user facing details, such as it is nothing but a brand name, it is locally and user action prompts as well. Let's see how these look like in our example. Okay, so we have your PayPal, it's experience context, here brand name, locally, it's nothing but which country language we are using. Locally it is nothing but, and it's how somehow brand name, it is nothing but a client name or something. And landing page that we are using here, it is nothing a login. And shipping preferences are set provided address, so these can be changeable. Okay, we can use set up a provided address or something, the fields which are available for us. The user actions at nothing but pay now, return URL. So something if unsuccessful payer, and what need to take, or if the user cancel the payment without paying, so uh, what needs to be shown in order to give an response. Okay, so this is how this looks like. And in the response, so here we get a 200 as a response code. It's a success response code if you get to 200. If you get or something else, it's not a false. If you get 400 like responses, that means the file may be not found, etc., something like that. So these responses may be a vary. 200 means success. Let's remember this, 200 means success. Okay, so in the response we'll get a unique id. Okay, so this unique id is then again used in the other purposes. Okay, in order to send these requests to the another software. So that's how this id is used, and we get status, pair action required, and the urls. This link is, it's not mandatory. So here this pair action, so this field is mandatory in order to give the user. Okay, so here we need to show this link to the user in order to pay now. Okay, so that's how these create order works. And as we discussed, just look also show order details. And see, we have another api, it is nothing but show order details. Okay, in these field also, in order to give the request, we need to give the id. It is mandatory, the id of the order of which show details. And in this also, the query parameters we need to give. Query parameters are nothing but, I think, the in the URL after the question mark, those parameters we give are nothing but the query parameters. Maybe these fields, a comma separated list of fields. So these query parameters are in the form of and key value pairs as well. Okay, remember this. And comma separated list of fields that should be returned for the order, and these are valid for the field of payment source. Okay, and we need to give header parameters as well, and those includes the authorization content type as well. And we will get a response. Okay, let's see. So this header, curl means it's a command prompt. We can use this. We can import it to Postman also. For the Java, this is used. This is for the header, and this is a request body. And in order, we get a response also. It's a, sorry, it's a response. Okay. Yeah, in response, you can see the capture, approval, self, patch, something. It's currency code, its value. Those we are getting. Okay. I think this is the end of this demo. Thank you for giving this opportunity for me. Thank you.